Give me a moment, Brave said, still staring at the information on the tablet. There's quite a bit of useful detail in this article, and he left a few cautions about what is going on. It seems the energy that divides aspects and other dimensions is also a pocket that reflects the physical world. Like that invented legend from Earth, the backrooms? Shiguma asked, peering into the opening of the backpack. It was one that closed through pulling drawstrings tight. Currently, an assortment of items seemed to be poking out of it. More like a realm of expressive energy that can be quite volatile if additional energy is added to it. Brave replied, throwing the pack to Shiguma. Since you seem to be in a rush to take a gander, but he may have notes for everyone, so be careful. Holding but not examining the contents of the bag, Shiguma quirked an eye at Brave before saying, I simply wish to have everything in the open in case questions can be answered before doing a deep dive. Rolling her eyes, Brave looked up into those of Shiguma. There's no reason to quibble, she said. When given instructions, I prefer to dive in quick. I have a knack for picking up on things quickly when given something to work with, and I tend to like a bit of care given when I'm doing a deep dive. There's only a couple of pages. Give me a few minutes so we can take a look at the stuff in there together. Can I get a download to my comp? I don't want to mess with the information. It might not be stable thanks to the Wi-Fi network being absent in the hollow, Brave said before pointing to the tablet. The article indicates that technology has a hard time remaining active in here. Then read it out like an audio file, Shiguma said before sitting down on the track beside the stadium seats. She was not far off, but Brave would have to move in order for her to be heard without constant interruptions to repeat information. Zirconian was taking the items out of the pack and laying them out carefully. Exasperated, Brave began tapping her cloven toes on the pavement before opting to be patient. Such a thing was a double-edged facet for her. She had trained her mind and body to be as quick as she could in order to compete in the parkour races. The skills lent well to assisting with the more problematic elements of Morn. In social interactions, though, she tended to rub people the wrong way. It was something her best friend Peppermint had been admonishing her about for years. Leaping over the rail, Brave walked briskly closer to Shiguma before sitting down. I will summarize as I go. Just let me get into it, Brave said, focusing on the page once more. In all the interviews I have seen of you, you're presented as this fun-loving spirit, Shiguma stated, looking at the three items on the ground. Where is that version of Excelsior Brave? Did this cross-section of a dimension scramble your personality? Are you kidding me? Brave said. We've been trapped in this place, and the only way back for us, and whatever citizens also got caught, might be for us to learn all we can about what happened. The version you see is me, but when lives are at risk, I tend to become focused on the task at hand. Parkour races and heroics are two different things. So you have a multiple personality disorder. Gotcha. Setting the tablet gently on the grass, Brave walked over to Shiguma, pointing a finger at her. I heard you had a bit of a temper. Would you mind cooling off so we can get about helping people? Getting people riled up only leads to mistakes. Extending her arms out from her side, Shiguma lowered both hands slowly before motioning to the tablet. You're right, she said. Sort of why I tend to do the whole solo gig. Ruffling feathers seems to be my specialty. Please, before one of us does something foolish like break a gadget or tablet, consider me your humble student. Right, Brave said, picking up the tablet to read. After a few moments, she looked over at the objects on the ground and then back to the tablet. Shiguma, good to her unspoken word, remained calm while observing the avenue. Only about 10 minutes passed before she cleared her throat. None of this is going to do us any good here, she said. Pack it all up so we can start looking for places the prof described in his notes. Are we in any danger? Shikuma asked, hoping for some information. No, Brave said, placing the tablet into her holding satchel. But in order to get back to the Morn, we need to find 3 locations so we can open a portal home. Because of the nature of what happened, we had no real entry point. The professor is going to work on stabilizing the area back where he is, but needs help from our side. Where are we headed? And does this mean this was all some sort of accident? Shiguma finished stashing the strange rod-like devices back in the backpack. She placed the entire thing into her own holding satchel before checking the harness, holding her greatsword at her hip. Brave nodded at the stadium exit furthest from them before she began walking around the track. According to the articles, Giles was hoping to stop a rather curious hair scientist from performing an experiment while the parkour races were running. It only hastened the foolishness. In addition to all of that, the hare kidnapped the professor's daughter in an effort to keep his interference to a minimum. She is somewhere in here. You know the expression about curiosity in cats, Shiguma said, shaking her head? Of course. I've never met a feline that acted upon foolish curiosity, she replied. But I have met a fair amount of hares that just can't resist poking the bear. And with that, I will see you all in the near future, and thank you for listening.